Hi, my name's Kathy. I work at the Hamilton East Public Library and I'm also a master gardener. I'm here to show you a little bit today about how to care for some of the perennials that you might have in your yard. I'm standing here in a perennial bed that I have here that has various things planted. And one of the things that I have a problem with is some of my tall things start to flap over. And you can leave them that way if that's how you like it, but you can also prune them back before they bloom. Now, I have one of my favorite books here. It's called The Well-Tended Perennial Garden by Tracy D. Sabato Ost. She has several books and we have several of them in the library. This is a great book for knowing what to do with the perennials that you might have in your yard. It tells you how to care for them at all the different times of the years, what you should be doing. I've got a couple flowers here that tend to fall over just from the weather if they get too tall. I've got some problems over here because we had a tree branch fall on my sedum and on my obedient plant over here, and it looks ugly. So normally with my sedum I wouldn't cut it as far down as I'm going to show you now, but because it looks ugly because of the tree falling on it, I need to do something about this. So I've got a pair of hand pruners here, and if you notice when you look at the way some plants grow, you've got a stem, right? And then out of that stem is coming a set of leaves here and here, or you'll have branches that come out of it. This is the way that plants tend to grow like this. So I don't want to have this be so tall, because if it's not already fallen over, this is going to fall over. And it's just a little bit high for my landscape. So what I'm going to do is find a place where I can cut that off. And what's going to happen is the things that are right there are going to grow off further. Now, I could do this with a hand pruner, but the easier way for me to do this is to just take my pruning shears and I'm just going to lop away at this. And I know that seems really horrible, but probably I've cut these all about in the right space. And what's going to happen, everywhere that I've cut this, it's going to grow new sides. So for the one thing that I cut off, it's going to, from either side of that stem, have another one grow either way. And it's also going to delay the bloom on this, obviously. I'm not going to get it now as soon as I would have. So for some plants, I might prune it so that I'll prune half of it, or I'll prune half of it twice and the other half of it only once, and then I'll get multiple bloom times. So for instance, here's this obedient plant that fell over because of the tree. So I can cut this down, and this is going to delay the bloom on this. And with the rest of this that is looking so sad, what I'll do is I'll prune half of it now. Well, I'll prune it now, and then I'll re-prune it down a couple weeks from now, and that'll let this bloom first, and then this will bloom after that, and that's going to prolong my bloom. Now, here's the important thing. You need to know what plants you can do this for. Some plants have a stem that grows, and it takes maybe all summer, like a hydrangea, for the flower to form, and you don't want to prune that then, or you'll have just cut off the flower. It would be like in the springtime going out and pruning your forsythia before it blooms. With bushes and things like that, you want to prune them immediately after the bloom so that you don't ruin what might be happening for next year. And that book, The Well-Tended Perennial Garden, that's going to tell you what time of year you can do things like this. I've got an aster here that is nice and upright now, but I can tell you that this is going to flop over before the season ends, and then it's just going to be lying on the ground, and my husband's going to mow over it, so it's going to be a mess. So same sort of thing. I'm just going to go in with my hedge clippers, and I'm going to cut this down so that the whole thing is going to be smaller. Now, you might already do this with your mums, and that's great, but there are lots of other plants that you can do this to. So I would recommend checking out that book from the library, looking at all the plants that you have in your yard, and seeing which ones you can do this to, and just make yourself a little calendar of yard maintenance, what you should be doing when, and your yard will look much tidier in the end. So I could go through this whole row and take care of various ones, but I think you get the idea. So thank you for watching. Check out the book from the library and have a wonderful time gardening.